Alright guys, today is our last schedule rankings video for the year, obviously being the NFC West. Should be a pretty interesting division, obviously, this year. And after this, we will get into our roster ratings for the rest of the offseason. Some videos really put in there, obviously, before tier week, which is right before the season. But that's all I got for you guys. Let's go. NFC West schedule rankings. Here we go. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the NFC West 2024 schedule rankings. Yes, this is the last division we will go through in terms of these schedule rankings. Obviously, we got the whole rest of the offseason basically to do these roster grades, and there's some funny preview videos to those as well. But before we're going to get in that, we got to go through this NFC West schedule rankings. And again, pretty good. It's actually a pretty good division. Again, there are some, obviously last year wasn't great for this division, but then you still had a team that went to the Super Bowl from it, so it really wasn't that bad. But with that all said, let's get right into our first team, which will be the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, won just 4 games in total last year, but that was kind of expected. They were arguably the worst team in terms of talent going into last year. Of course, you definitely saw them in the roster games, but they are improved, which means maybe they'll win some games this season. But again, their schedule isn't exactly too easy. Versus Saints, though, week 1, 8 o'clock is the start of the preseason. Then they go at the Colts, and they got at the Broncos, which is a very interesting game, 4:30 on CBS to end their preseason on a Sunday. Now looking at their actual schedule. First off, honestly, I kind of like it a lot. Again, all these games I'd honestly turn on the TV to watch. Again, the Cardinals aren't a bad. Again, they're not a good team, but at the same time, they're entertaining, which is good to see. Either way, though, at the Bills, 1 o'clock on CBS. Meh. Again, that's gonna be a tough game for sure. I don't expect them to win that one, but honestly, it's gonna be close. Probably gonna be a shootout. First, the Rams, week 2. They haven't beaten the Rams ever at home since Sean McVay has shown up as the head coach. So don't expect anything different here. 0-2. Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. Honestly, probably the hardest start to the season. They got the versus the Cardinals, the Lions, which again, if you don't remember, they played the Lions back-to-back early in the seasons. Last time they played the Lions, so again, they played the Lions from 2019 to 2021. First 2 years of that 3 years span when they played them. Both at home, both two games were very, very close. Of course, a tie in week 1 in Kyler Murray's debut. And then 2020 COVID year, and another week 3 game. They were home against the Lions, and they won 26-23. Don't want to bore you too much into that. I just wanted to say that because it is big here. Honestly, they could definitely get a win here, but 0-3. Sadly, that could absolutely be a start for them. Another rough start. Versus the Commanders, though, in week 4. I think that's a game they it's probably going to be a must-win one way or another, so I expect them to win that one. At the Niners, at the Packers, back-to-back really tough games, guys. This is, again, arguably the hardest start of the season. And we saw the Saints yesterday have a really tough start of the season. This is just as hard, if not even harder. I don't expect them, again, they'll probably compete in both these games, but considering how their defense is structured, I don't expect them to play too well in these games. Versus the Chargers, that's a game again at 9 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Again, it might not be the most intriguing game when you really look at it record-wise, but again, ESPN Plus, they got to have their game, so they're doing this stupid doubleheader game for week 7. Again, 9 o'clock really late, but either way, they're having this game going on. But for this game, definitely a winnable one. Most likely, guys, 3-4, 2-5 is where they're going to be. I do not see them having even sniffing a winning record here. Out of the Dolphins week 8, actually, I think they match up really well against the Dolphins as long as they don't sell late. I think they have a shot at winning that one. Versus Bears is gonna probably be a tight game. Versus Jets is another interesting dynamic, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to win that one. And being completely honest, guys, this team has a tough schedule, and you look at their first 10 weeks, they only have 4 games that you could say pretty definitively where you're like, yeah, they have a good shot. They should definitely compete for sure. Really only 3 that I think they should be favored in, if at all. So, yeah, the Commanders have the Cardinals have a really tough start to their season. Thank God they got a week 11 bye. Off the bye, though, back-to-back road games against teams that are going to be pretty competitive with them. At the Seahawks, at the Vikings. They haven't played well in Seattle. Obviously, last time they played with Kyler there, they lost 19-9. Again, last year was just complete, they played awful there. Obviously, with Josh Downs, but still, I don't know. That game could be close. I don't know for sure, though. At the Vikings, that's a game I think they could definitely win. Versus the Seahawks, they're going to be the Seahawks at least one slash. I don't even know how the Seahawks swept them, to be completely honest, but they're going to at least beat them once. Then they've got the 2 easiest part. Again, this 5-week stretch, they should honestly go at least win 2 of these games. At the Panthers isn't going to be, again, a too easy game for sure, but again, that's a game I think they should be able to win by double digits, just again, at the point in the season they're in. Versus Patriots, that also should be a win. But their last 2 weeks at the Niners versus the 49ers is not fun either. So even if they have a shot at making the playoffs, guys, with these last 5 weeks, after these last 5 weeks, The last two games should suggest to you that it's not going to be easy for them to get to that point. Hey, you never know. There's obviously a very difficult schedule for this team, but again, if they're able to, I don't know, persevere a little bit, maybe they do something this year. But I do like this team, and I will be interested to see what they do. I've never been, again, a team that I never hated the Cardinals, except when 2021, where they're actually pretty good for like the first half of the season. But outside of that time, I mean, again, I want the Cardinals to do good, even though they're in our division. They're like the least hated team in the division, because I mean, they kind of suck. But that's all I got for the Cardinals, guys. Let's get to our next team, which would be the reigning NFC champions. Alright, now looking at the Niners schedule. Again, this is definitely a team that, again, probably is just to be as good as they were last year, if not even better. I don't know, maybe not. But with that said, this team definitely has a little bit more competition than last year. I mean, the Seahawks were considered the best team coming out, which, if you didn't know, that's not great. Obviously, as we saw in the season. Either way, though, week 1, they're at the Titans preseason, 7 o'clock. Then they're versus Saints, 8 o'clock on Fox. Then at the Raiders on a Friday and at 10 o'clock to end their preseason. But their actual schedule, obviously, they have a 6, I think, primetime games. It's a busy schedule for sure. Is it the hardest schedule? No, but there are definitely games in here that I think they're going to be tough, obviously. Versus the Jets on Monday Night Football, 8:20. I really don't know. This kind of pisses me off because it's been 8:15 for like at least the last 5 years. And before that, it was like 8:30. Either way, though. And now they make it 8:20 for week 1. Don't ask me why, but I guess that's just what they're doing. This game, obviously, everything ESPN. This is a really good game. I don't think it really matters if they win this one. I'm going to lose this one, but it's just going to be a really good game. A good litmus test against the measuring stick game that began the season. I kind of guess. Again, I really don't know for sure. At the Vikings, though, 1 o'clock on CBS the next week. That game, I'd be surprised if they lost that one. Maybe their defense implodes, but I don't see how Brock Purdy doesn't carve up that defense like a pumpkin, which is around this part of the season, which we'll get to in a minute. At the Rams, that game's gonna be a brawl. One way I think they will beat them in week 15. So honestly, if they get out to a 1-2 start, you shouldn't be too concerned unless you guys again lose Brock Purdy or like your whole entire offense or your whole entire defense. You should not be concerned if you get out into a 1-2 start. Again, probably not gonna, but if they do, don't get too mad as a Cardinal fan a Niner fan because it gets super easy after that. The versus Patriots versus Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised if both those games are 30-plus point wins. They got a short week at Seattle, which is not fun, but then again, they're still on the West Coast, so I don't think it's actually like the worst. What is it called? Short week Thursday night game. Again, look at last year. They dominated that one. I don't expect it to be anything different. After that, they got a mini bye week before they play the Chiefs at home. That game could either go two ways. It could go the way that happened back in 2022, where they lost by 3 scores just after that CMC, or they win the game, which honestly I think will happen. And either way, I think they're gonna own the Cowboys. So realistically, guys, worst case they're 5-3 going into the bye. Like me, at the very worst, I think they're 5. Maybe okay. The Niners could be 4-4 going into the bye. I'm not going to say that's impossible because they could lose against Seattle. I don't see that happening, but it could. I already talked about the 1-2 start, and maybe they're going to drop. Maybe they drop one of these two. So what is that? That's 4 games. Yeah, let's say they drop one of these two. So that's 4-4. Very worst thought. Again, maybe just maybe they're 4-4. But 5-3 is my guess. Worst case, best case, they're like 7-1, 6-2. I don't see them 8-0 because there's some decent teams here in the first half. But yeah. Really good week 9 bye week. After that, though, some cupcake games were at the Bucs. I don't call that a cupcake game, but again, they should absolutely win. Versus Seattle should definitely be even a bigger one than they had in week 6. Then they're at the Packers at the Bills on Sunday Night Football, obviously America's game of the week. They're going to drop one of those. I don't know which one they're going to, but they will. Maybe this week 14 game's a trap game. They get the Rams on Thursday Night Football. I expect them to win that one, considering they're home for back-to-back weeks. At the Dolphins, week 16, that game could definitely be an interesting one for sure. Obviously, they beat them, what was it? 31-14, I think that's what the final score was. Or 34-17. No, I don't need AI for this one. 33-17. My bad. I just completely messed up on that score. Either way, 33-17. Yeah, that game. We don't know how that one will go. Versus the Lions, Monday Night Football. Actually, I'm gonna give them a loss here. Then at the Cardinals end of the season, that game could be pretty important. You look at it. It's not like they don't have hard games in their schedule. Like, being completely honest, guys, they're probably gonna go like 12-5, 11-6. But 13-4 obviously just happened. Like it didn't even happen last year, but I absolutely could have happened this year. But overall, again, I think this is actually a really nice schedule for them. Yes, there are tough games, but they do have some really easy stretches, and there really aren't too many tough games in the schedule. Yes, these 2 games are tough. Yes, these 3 games are not going to be easy. Yes, first 3 weeks are not easy either. But I'm going to talk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Half of their games, I'm like, those games should be close. All the other games should be wins. So, you look at it like that, I don't see them being anything worse than 10-7 at the very, very worst. That's all I got for the Niners, though. Pretty decent schedule for them. Now let's look at the next team who's competing with them for the division, most likely. That would be the Los Angeles Rams. You never know. Okay, now we are on to my team. That would be the Los Angeles Rams. And Okay, I just have a feeling that the Rams are going to have a similar season to the one they had back in 2018, which I do not want to remember, even though, again, we had the best record we've had in, like, 20-odd years, something like that. Much rather have 2021 we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you remember that. No one does. Either way, though, yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with this, but yeah, we got that for preseason. Then we got the Chargers and the Texans at 10 o'clock to end the preseason. At Houston at 10 a.m. Well, this is completely messed up. Forget about that. Either way, though, their actual schedule is very weird, I kind of guess, but we'll get into this in a minute. I'm going to compare it to the 2018 schedule. So, again, I just have a feeling they're going to have a similar schedule, but looking at the 2018 schedule, again, this is the 8-0 start. They had the Raiders, who were horrible in 2018. Same thing with the Cardinals. The Chargers were good. This was a really good win. The Vikings were really mid. Seahawks were decent, but we still kind of owned them then. The Broncos were bad. The Niners were awful. The Packers were also pretty mid. So we look at it, 8-0 start. The really only good win was versus the Chargers. That was the only win. Outside of that, again, pretty bad games. Now I actually played the other really good team during the regular season. So yeah. But looking at the schedule, really the only tough games, again, the Chiefs game, the Saints, these are the only two teams so far that are actually pretty good. Again, this was hindsight, obviously, having that too. Eagles were decent. Again, they made the divisional round. Outside in the Bears. So, look at they lost 2 of those games. So, against, the 4 teams that, we'll consider, there's, the 4 toughest games on their schedule, they lost 3 of them. So, with that in mind, yeah, the Rams have a lot more than just 4 toughest games on their schedule. There's a lot of those. So I don't think they're going to start at 9-0, but I might just be ignorant enough to do it anyway. So either way, though, looking at this Rams schedule, at the Lions week 1 on Sunday Night Football, Matt Stafford's, I guess, kind of revenge game. Going back to Detroit, obviously, first regular season game back in Detroit. This game, I guess, will be rocking. It'll be a 30-plus point battle for both teams, and it'll probably be a really good game. At the Cardinals week 2, probably a bounce-back type of game. I hope we don't lose it. Versus Niners, that game's going to be a brawl. If we start out 1-2, I will not be too concerned. We did the same thing last year, and we made the playoffs, so who that cares. At the Bears, week 4, that game's going to be tough. I still think we're going to be able to win it, but we could absolutely lose that one. Versus Packers, the Packers own us. You know, I think we're going to still lose this one. I just don't see us beating the Packers. I don't know what it is. 2-3, yeah, probably going to happen. But 3-2, it's not out of the question either. So we're probably going to be around 500 in the first 5 weeks. We have a really early bye week, which I don't like at all, but whatever. Versus the Raiders, versus the Vikings, Thursday Night Football for that short week. My guess is the offense is going to put up at least 30 in this one. I'd be surprised if we lose to the Raiders, but who knows? Maybe they'll punch us in the mouth or something. At Seattle, week 9, that game's going to be tough, but again, we could probably win that one. Versus Dolphins, Monday Night Football, a lot of points in that one. At the Patriots, maybe it's a trap game. Maybe it's not. Versus the Eagles, Sunday Night Football, I hope we beat them there. That game could be a big game for the NFC. At the Saints, week 13, I don't know. Maybe we'll drop that one. I think Matt Stafford's going to be a little pissed off. That was the last game he played in 2022. Of course, he had a concussion in that one. Versus the Bills, that game, I guess, will be a really fun one to watch. I think we'll win that one, though. At the Niners, no, we're not going to win this one. Maybe we'll split. I just don't feel like we're winning this one. At the Jets, that game's going to be tough. Probably drop that one, too. Then we got back-to-back games versus the Cardinals and Seahawks. The reason this Rams-Cardinals game is to be determined is because it could be the NFL Network Saturday triple-header game. So, keeping that in mind. And that's Week 18 we don't know yet. So, really looking at the schedule, I don't see the Rams winning actually a ton of games just because it's not a very easy schedule really at all. But they do have games they absolutely should win. I'm going to be honest, I think we're going to probably win, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 games. Best case, I don't know, freaking 14 if I'm, completely drinking the Kool-Aid. But realistically, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 games we're going to win this year. I don't see us being below 500. Maybe we get to that point if someone gets injured. But I do like the depth on this roster, which, of course, we'll get into the roster grades later. But looking at this team, again, the schedule overall, it's not the greatest. I don't love it really at all, but I've seen worse schedules. Obviously, it's not even close to as easy as 2018. That is all there for the Los Angeles Rams, though. Let's get to our last team in the schedule rankings. That would be the Seattle Seahawks before we get into this overall ranking. All right, guys, our last team will be the Seattle Seahawks, and they obviously had a very mid-season last year. They also have two Thursday night games similar to the Niners. Preseason goes at the Titans and at the Chargers, 4 or 5, 7 o'clock, then 7 o'clock game versus the Browns. Probably going to be at 10 o'clock this last game, but who knows? It's on Saturday, though. Either way, though, their actual schedule versus the Broncos week 1. That should be a win. I'd be surprised they lose that one. At the Patriots, maybe it's close, but another game that I think they should win. 2-0? Should happen. Versus the Dolphins week 3. That game's going to be fun to watch. I really think it's going to be close, but if Devin Witherspoon plays well, I think they'll be able to win that one. Again, the Seahawks could definitely get up to 3-0. After that, though, that's a tough game, though, at the Lions, Monday Night Football. I don't expect them to win that one. They won it last year, though, so, hey, you never know. Versus the Giants, that also should be a win. Honestly, 4-1, 3-2 are very real possibilities for them. Short week, though, versus the Niners. They could win that one. I don't know for sure. At Falcons is going to be tough. They got versus the Bills and versus the Rams. This is probably their toughest 4-week stretch of the season. So, being completely honest, guys, this is if they start out like 4-1, 5-0 even somehow. Let's say they start 3-2. They could be 3-6 through 9 weeks. More or less, though, my guess will be like 5-4 or 4-5. And look at this team's first, what is called first half of their schedule. Again, they have the perfect week 10 bye week. It's not, again, the most balanced, but it is a chance to get out to a hot start, which is what you always want as an NFL team. At the Niners, though, 4-5 on Fox Week 11. Give them a loss there. So my guess is they're at 5-4. Give them probably 5-5 versus Cardinals Week 12. I think they'll beat the Cardinals at least once this year. So let's give them that one there. At the Jets, that game's going to be tough, but honestly, I think they do play the Jets well in this one and give them the win there. At the Cardinals, though, again, we already said they'll split. So my guess is they'll be around 7-6, 6-7 through 14 weeks. Versus the Packers, you know what? Give them this one. The Packers haven't played there since 2018, I think it was. And Jordan Love doesn't exactly play well in loud environments. Versus the Vikings, 4-5 on Fox. Actually give them this one. And then I have the Bears' first primetime game versus Chicago, and even in Chicago since 2018 as well. That game's going to be on Thursday Night Football. Then at the Rams end the season. So my guess is they'll probably be around 500, which honestly isn't the worst place for this team, again, with a new head coach. And this Rams game could arguably be their playoff fate. But look at this team schedule overall. It's very underrated, and I do honestly think it's a really good chance for them to win some games. Yes, there's tough games in the schedule, again, but you look at the second half, outside that game against San Francisco and at the Jets, I really don't see a reason why they can't win some of these games. Yeah, at the Rams isn't fun either, but look at the first half, again, this 4-week stretch, and really, I guess you could call it this stretch. Again, there's 3 games in the second half. Well, 4 games in the second half, this 4-week stretch here in the first step. Those are really the only games that I think will give them trouble, but I don't think they're going to go 0-8 in those games. 2-6, 3-5 will do them wonders in getting themselves into the playoffs. Yeah, this is not an easy schedule per se, but it's definitely a schedule I think they can win games with, and that's why I think it's one of the easier in the NFL. Not the easiest, but one of the easier ones. And now getting these overall schedule rankings, and yes, I do have the Arizona Cardinals having the hardest schedule in this division, and yes, technically the strength of schedule is the 9th and easiest in the entire NFL, but in my opinion, this team starts with their season will not be too fun. Yes, they do have an okay bye week for, again, what we're going to see from them. And yes, winnable games for sure in their schedule, but their ceiling is limited because of where they're playing. Their toughest games are going to be played. First off, at the Niners, that's not a good week to have that game. Again, the Bills game, week 1, not the best either. It's going to be tough for them to, again, climb out of any sort of hole. But honestly, I think, again, if Kyler Murray's able to, again, just be consistent, they should be okay. But, yes, this schedule, I think, is the hardest in the division. But it's very close with the Los Angeles Rams, kind of like, I guess, kind of 4A, 4B, which would be the Rams, which I do think have these again a pretty hard schedule. But the thing about the Rams schedule, I just don't see where we're just going to run off a bunch of wins. Maybe we do, but again, similar to that 2018 schedule, that was cupcakes. This year is not cupcakes. There's some tough games in this schedule, and I think they're going to have to play really good football consistently for them to win all these games. But we'll see if they can do that. But yes, I don't like the schedule too much. But the reason, again, it's in 3rd and not, again, 4th is because, again, there are some games where I'm like, yeah, there's no way they're dropping that one. And speaking of that, the Niners here, the reason they're in 2nd, yes, they probably should win a lot of games, but there are parts of their schedule that are going to be tough. I mean, back-to-back losses are pretty prevalent. I think that could happen. Again, there's probably like 3 spots where like, yeah, we're going to lose back-to-back games there. But outside of that, they should be okay. So that's why they're in 2nd. I mean, they're going to win games anyway, so this really doesn't mean too much for them. And the easiest in the division has to be the Seahawks because, I mean, they have a super easy start to their schedule. And after that, yes, it gets a little sketchy, I guess. But at the same time, guys, this team getting out to like a 4-1, 5-0 start will put them in a really good spot to make the playoffs. And again, those next 4 weeks aren't going to be fun, but I do think they go and land to beat Kirk Cousins. There are going to be games that are going to be competitive in it. Again, if it just goes the right way, there's a chance this team wins 11, 12 games. I'm not even kidding. Will they? Obviously not, but it is possible for them to. And again, all these other teams don't have that chance outside, of course, the Niners. So with that, also, that is all I got for the Seattle Seahawks, and that is all I got for the NFC West, and that is all I got for the schedule rankings this year. Hope you guys enjoyed what is called schedule rankings for 2024. I will be there's going to be a what is called roster grades preview coming out tomorrow, and then a special Sunday Memorial Day thing, and obviously my first roster grading grades will be coming out on Memorial Day. But until then, hope you guys enjoy these schedule rankings. Again, thank you guys so much for, again, the support and watching all these. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow. You're not gonna see me. You're gonna see the preview for the roster grades. But obviously on Sunday, you'll see me again for tier rankings. You'll see what it is. But until then, special Sunday Memorial Day video. Again, roster grades coming out throughout the summer, starting tomorrow. Not the actual roster grades, but you'll see it until then. Sorry for the long inning. That's all I got for you guys. And let's watch CMC blow up the Cardinals run D.
McCaffrey picks up the first down, has some room, makes a man miss. Christian McCaffrey in the open field, inside the 30, inside the 20. McCaffrey touchdown. 76 yards for CMC.
He doesn't need any plays off. Take a look here at Greg Olsen. He's going to lead up through the hole and help seal it off.